I'll start. Okay. I know you all just went and grabbed one, but I will mention for folks who are going to tune into this and the recording afterwards, I've got a towel today that's just rolled up into a tube. A small blanket would be fine if you have anything of this shape and squishiness, or a pillow that's really squishy that you can fold around. Any of that will work out pretty well. I don't think that I have a whole lot to talk about today. We're going to work in a heart opening practice because I feel like personally I'm just feeling like very like hard here. Like you get into that place where there's just so much uncertainty and kind of like that impotent feeling of what can I really do to heal the hurt that's going on in myself and in the world. And you know, we're just sitting in this place where like, okay, it could be a year before we could practice together, and who knows how long it's going to take to make some real changes and social justice issues that are facing our country and our people at this point. So we'll work on some heart opening because there's this quote that I really like, that everything responds to the song of the heart. And if it's shut off and it's closed down and the song is really quiet, it does not have the resonant impact that a big, open, full, and strong and supported heart song can have. I mentioned a friend of mine once said to me, instead of worrying about doing what is right, just do what comes naturally. And that can be a better guide of the way to make action and to make change. So if we have this heart-centered, natural focus, then the things that we do in the world are going to be coming from that good, loving heart place. So take your hand and you're going to place it just on your chest. I'm wearing a t-shirt, so it doesn't really work. I can slide my hand onto my skin. If you've got a low-cut shirt, you can do that, or you can just take your hand right on top. And then the hand that's resting just in line with your collarbone and right below your collarbone, you'll take the other hand and press down on it. So the top hand is the one making the action. You just kind of drag the skin down ever so slightly as you press your bottom hand in towards your heart. And if it's comfortable to you, close your eyes. Really try to tune into that experience of the pressure that's coming down on your heart space. Sometimes this heart opening work becomes a little bit like how a pearl or a diamond takes shape. I think it's a little bit more like a diamond. I'm not a gemologist, but these beautiful things come about when we take something that is common or perhaps even ugly and we apply pressure to it. So much pressure that eventually something beautiful comes up. If we keep applying pressure and we keep doing the work and we keep having the right intention and awareness, take another deep breath in. Exhale and push downwards and in towards the chest. And then release your hands. Move your shoulders around a little bit. Mine do tend to get a little tight when I hold that for a long time. And then we'll move to the other side. So your other hand is going to go and line it up just along the same line with your collarbone just below it. And the top hand presses in. So there's some compression and then a slight dragging down. So we are moving the connective tissue and making change by applying pressure. We talked quite a bit recently about how we don't change from a comfortable place. And people who are really into physical fitness or any sort of athletic endeavor, you do get better over time by doing all the right things, but in order to make really monumental changes, you have to push outside of your comfort zone. So if you're willing today, let this heart tending, let this pressure on your chest be maybe a little bit uncomfortable. Keep pressing. One more big breath in. Big breath out. Push that hand down. And then take your hands and sneak your fingers up behind your ears to massage that space. The little bony nubs. And lifting up from that space so you can get your spine up nice and long and strong. Leaving the spine nice and long as you relax your hands down into your lap. If you can, let the palm space open. Continuing to cultivate this sense of being open to receive. And take a deep breath in through your nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Another one like that. For 3 ohms. Welcome to your practice. We're going to start off using our little towel or blanket roll. Make sure you give it an extra squeeze so it's nice and firm. And then we'll come down so that this is going to go right in between or right in line with your shoulder blades. So as you lay down, you should be able to have the bony parts of your shoulders kind of lined up with the center of your roll. And then you'll take your hands back and you'll hold your hands behind the head, and probably this roll that you've got is not so large that it's difficult to rest your head back, especially with your hands underneath it. But if it is, you're just going to kind of scoot yourself back a little bit more until your shoulders come a little bit closer to the ground. Probably your shoulders aren't on the ground. Your waist is lifted up. It's a little dark in here again today. But you're right in line with kind of the bottom of the armpit, the middle of the shoulder blades. And if it feels like not quite right, then you just go ahead and lift yourself up and maybe move it around and come back down. There should be a space where you feel pretty good about being here. I kind of like having the knees bent. You might like having the legs a little bit straighter. That's going to increase the bend in the middle of your back. So if that lumbar spine is a little bit tender, then you might have the knees bent to keep that a little bit more supported. And if your head easily reaches the ground, if you open your arms out like a cactus shape, you'll get a little bit more opening to the fronts of your shoulders. So just be mindful of how intense your body is okay with going right now, and you really don't need to go super wild at this point. We're laying on something soft and squishy and taking a few more breaths in softness. Just being open to the opening here, to the opening of the heart. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then start to roll your knees over to one side. You're just going to roll over, use your hands to catch you, push yourself up, and then take that roll. You can leave it behind your head if you like, or you can come down flat onto your back, bringing the knees bent, and then taking the arms and reaching them above your head. I can't quite reach my arms straight, but if I hold my elbows, it feels really good. I'll lift and spread out the sides of the chest, maybe giving an extra little wiggle here to really get those shoulders open. And then you're going to take your feet, make them a little bit wider than your hips. Let both of the knees go over towards the right and flex your feet. So you're sharply drawing the toes up to the shins. Getting a nice stretch on the front of the left thigh. And then for a little extra, you might take your elbows, or if your arms are straighter, you can reach your whole arm. Like I'm just going to kind of grab my elbows and pull them a little bit further away from my torso. Breathing in. And then breathing out. And then taking the knees back to the center and rolling them over towards the other side, flexing my feet. I flex my feet to keep the ankle strong so I can keep the knee a little bit more in line, protecting that joint. And then reaching and pulling the arms away from the torso, stretching out the armpits, the sides of the ribs. Just one more breath in like this. One more breath out. And come on up to the center. So you'll have the feet planted just in a manner that's comfortable to you. You're going to take the arms over your face, so reaching them up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers. And then flip the palms over so that you're pressing the hands up towards the ceiling with your fingers interlaced. And you're going to draw your belly in the direction of your spine. It doesn't have to press down onto the floor, but you're engaging a little bit of core strength. And then trying to keep that core strength. As you inhale, press the hands back behind you as far as you can go. Scooch for my wall space. As you exhale, bring the hands back up above your head. I've got a little bend into my elbows. It's a little bit more like a circle diamond sort of shape, just to make sure that I can keep my shoulders rotated open. We'll do that a few more times. As you inhale, reach the hands towards the wall behind you, and then exhale, take the hands back up above your face. You don't have to go down as far as I am or as far as you see anybody else going. And don't worry about getting the hands to the floor. It's not about the floor. It's about how far can you reach the hands back. So it's getting really long. You're still feeling those center core muscles engaging. 2 more. Breathing in, reach back. Exhale above the face. Breathing in, reach back. Exhale above the face. And then go ahead and release those arms just down by your sides onto the floor to let those shoulders muscles relax. That was maybe a little bit intense. And then take your right leg and go ahead and squeeze onto that right knee, or you could grab behind the knee and hold onto your thigh. We're going to take the left leg and press it outward. So it's on the floor. The leg doesn't have to get straight, just make sure your foot is pressing away. But if you are able to get that leg a little bit straighter so that you're stretching out the front of your left thigh, might be able to then split the legs a little bit further apart, bringing the right thigh bone towards you. Focus more on the left leg than the right leg. Don't worry about how close the right leg gets to you. Can you really actively continue the energy outwards from the sole of your left foot? 1 more breath in. 1 more breath out. And then relax the left leg. Maybe you draw it in so that you can set the right foot down. And take your left leg in, hug your shin or hug the back of your knee, just kind of grabbing onto your thigh bone and slide that right leg out as far as it goes without the lower back being upset about it. And keeping an active right foot, like the sole of your foot is just going to keep pressing outwards into space, and you can feel that continuous flow of energy. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then relax the right leg, draw it in, put the soles of both feet down. Take your hands, interlace your fingers, and just move your finger bones and your wrists around a little bit, kind of making a figure eight sort of pathway. And then just for fun, see about going the other way with the figure eight. I don't think I've ever actually gotten this quite this coordinated before. I mean, it's still awkward and weird, but I don't know, maybe some change is happening. And then unwind your fingers, just go ahead and rub your hands together so that you're building some heat there. You can even rub your fingers in between each other a little bit. Shake up your hands, and then roll yourself over, finding table pose. You've got those hands nice and warmed up and ready to support us through the whole part, all of the fingers. We're going to do some little calf stretches. Just go ahead and take your right knee and put it in your left calf and move the kneecap around a little bit to massage the left calf. And find the other side, dropping your right knee down, taking the left kneecap, and just kind of squeezing into calf meat. And then set it down. And if you have a little bit more squishiness that you'd like, you could grab your towel and place it underneath your knees, or any additional squishiness you like. We're just going to take one Anjaneyasana, low crescent lunge. You're going to bring your right foot forward, give it a little extra scooch forward, take the hands up onto your front thigh. And then the front of your left hip here, you're going to feel that opening up. Your heart will open up. You can keep your hands on your thigh if you want to stay a little bit more stable, or you can start to open the arms out. Sometimes we have the arms in really close. I would actually recommend that you open your arms a little bit wider than you might usually. That way you can really let that chest open up and press forward. Just thinking that like the foot was pressing out in the last shape, where we were having that energy out through the foot. Can you feel everything expand outwards, like that song coming from the heart? Deep breath in, deep breath out, and then take your hands down. Take your time shifting to the other side. You'll bring your right knee back and step your left foot forward. And then bringing your hands up onto your thigh, being sure that the front of that right thigh is open. So you can lean your hips forward a little bit more, and you can leave the hands here opening the chest, or you can open the arms up, opening your chest. And sometimes when you open the arms up, the hips kind of fly back. So make sure the hips are coming forward and the heart is stretching up and open. Pressing strong into the front foot to keep your balance, keeping the breath moving. One more big breath in, big breath out. And then bringing the hands down. Go ahead and slide your left leg back. We're going to remove anything that you had underneath your knees and just come to lay all the way down on your belly. And once you get down onto your belly, I'm going to bring the hands in by your low ribs, wiggle your shoulders around a little bit. And as you inhale, send your heart forward into Cobra Pose. As you exhale, soften it down. If your wrists are tender, you could be on fingertips. Inhale, coming forward, Cobra Pose. Exhale, softening down. 3 more like that. Inhale, thinking of that forward motion. Exhale, lower. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, down. Once more. And then push the hands down so that you lift up away from the floor and press yourself back towards child's pose. You don't need to go all of the way, just stretching out your back a little bit. One more exhale here. And then inhale, lean yourself forward. Just go ahead and lower all the way down onto your belly. Inhaling, finding Cobra Pose. Exhale, push the floor away. Reach the hips back. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Just one more time. Inhale, come forward. Lower all the way down as you exhale. It doesn't have to be pretty or graceful. When you get there, inhale into Cobra Pose. Exhale, push the ground away. Lift yourself up. Press those hips back. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then come down to laying all the way on your belly. I'm just going to shift a little bit so that you can see, and just lay all the way down. Now, with your left arm, you're either going to make a cactus shape with the palm down, so get the bent elbow, or you can have the arm extended. I actually kind of think that the bent elbow is a little bit more intense for this. So you're going to lay on the left side of your head. I'm mirroring you, perhaps. You'll bring the right hand underneath your shoulder and then roll that right leg back. So we have that really big chest opening stretch that we sometimes get. And if you decide that this is too intense or not intense enough, you might change from the bent elbow to the straighter elbow, or from the straight elbow to the bent elbow, just making sure that you're choosing something that is opening, that is maybe just the right level of intensity that you are seeking today without being painful, without something in your body telling you, please stop, or this is not quite right, because we always want to listen to the body at that point. Breathing in, breathing out, and then rolling over onto your belly and switching sides. So you'll take your right hand out in much the same sort of shape. The left hand slides in, and the left hand's just for support as the left leg rolls back, and you rest on the right side of your head. Feel the breath moving in your lungs, opening up the chest and the heart space. So the sensation of this stretch changes subtly as the breath moves. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then rolling over onto your belly. We're going to bring both hands in underneath the ribs, and you're going to push the floor away again. And then we're going to come into standing, and just go ahead and bring your feet up. Take your time coming up to standing. Don't do anything too crazy, specific, or fast. And once we get to standing, we're going to do a little bit of feet stretching. So you're going to take your right foot, just kind of make some circles around so that you should feel your toe bones moving and the ankles getting some rotation, and then moving in the other direction. And then taking the left foot and doing the same thing, so you have that like rotation around the ankle and going in both directions, and it's as much intensity and as strong as you want it to be. And set all of your feet down. Bring your arms down by your sides. Lift your heart and lift the front of your hips. So the chest is lifted and the belly is lifted, and I'm not just lost in the midsection. I'm very pulled up. If it feels comfortable and your balance is good today, close your eyes. Otherwise, just lift up your big toes and lower the big toes down, and lift up all of the other toes. And lower all of the other toes down. Inhale, lift the big toes. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift the other toes. Exhale, lower. See if you can start at the big toes, lifting up each toe individually. And then start at the little toes, lowering down a couple of toes at a time. Maybe you can try to lift up the little toes and then the big toes, and then set down the big toes and all of the little toes. And then wiggle things out. I'll take the right foot back behind you so that you're on the toes. So I'm gonna just face this way. Okay. And then you're gonna take the fronts of your hips. Just go ahead and bring your hands there and feel those front pockets open up. You might lean forward just a little bit, but keep that back leg really strong. And then take your arms and reach them up. Feel your spine getting a little bit longer. Keep the spine long. And then take the right arm forward and open the left arm out to the side. So my weight is in my standing foot, my left foot. I'm trying to squish my belly and allow the rotation to happen. And my arms aren't at 6 o'clock. They're at this would be about 8 o'clock, I think. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Come back to the center. Just go ahead and reach both arms up. And then bring the hands to your heart. Step the right foot down. Just notice the difference in the sensation between your legs. And take your left foot back so that you're on the toe, on the bottom of the toe, having that big stretch. Reach your arms up. Feel the fronts of your hips lifting up so the spine gets longer. Keeping that length as you send the left arm forward and your right arm back. I want to try to keep my hips facing forward. I don't want to let my hips slide out towards the right as well. Hips stay forward. It's the heart that lifts, and then squishy belly as the heart rotates as much as it'll go. Weight is in the right foot. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale, coming back to the center, lift the arms up, and then go ahead and take the hands down. Wiggle things out a little bit. I'm going to mirror a warrior one. I'm going to face onto you. Bring your right foot forward and turn your left toes up a little bit. This front leg is bent, the back leg is not. Let's lift the arms up. And then notice how you're doing with the turning of your left hip forward. For most of us, there is resistance. That is common. It's not going to get flush to the front. We just notice where we're at whatever point in the practice, whatever day we're at. And then lean forward a little bit and take your left arm forward and your right arm back so that you can start to twist over that front leg. And now the weight is in both of your feet. And what does it feel like to have the weight in 2 feet with a wider support to twist here? Last exhale. And then you're going to keep the legs there. Go ahead and lift the arms back up to warrior one. Notice if you feel any less resistance, bringing that right hip or the left hip forward, the back hip. And then we're going to take the arms open to goal post arms with really excited fingertips. You can even make the jazz sparkle fingers happen if that works for you. And feel your heart pressing those arms out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Relax your arms. And then go ahead and step the back foot forward. And then you can switch sides coming onto the other direction. So you'll have your left foot forward, your right foot back. I'll shift a little bit to show a slightly different way. We'll reach the arms up, finding warrior one. Check that that front knee isn't falling in, that it's going forward. And just noticing how you feel to start off on this side. Where are the hips? How does the back feel? One more breath in. Slight lean forward, ever so slight, just because that releases the back and allows this twist to happen. And as the twist happens, don't let the hip pull out. Make sure it's drawing back. We're twisting around a soft, squishy belly. Big breath in. Big breath out. Return to warrior one, taking both arms up, looking and leaning and lifting up and forward. Notice where the hips are at. Notice what feelings come up here. One more breath in. Elbows opening out. I'm trying to draw my elbows back as much as my chest and my shoulders are allowing today. Make sure that you're not letting everything drop back. I want to still lift my spine up. It's the elbows that drop back. Stretch the pectoral muscles. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then bring the hands forward, lean forward, step forward. Wiggle things out a little bit. We're going to take our standing balance. When we come into this, we are going to work towards dancer's pose. You have a towel. You could use the towel, make a loop, put your foot in it, and hold on like so. That works. If you have a strap, anything else, pant leg. So those are always available to you if you want to use something to help hold on to that foot. I'm going to hold on just for good luck on my bookshelf. Take your right hand out to the side so your palm face is open. You're going to bend into the right leg and get the inside of the foot. And if you're holding on to something, you're still going to grab with your hand facing outwards. And then as you have this is going to hopefully help keep both of your knees down so that you don't have the fire hydrant leg, that you have legs in line. And this might not become a huge back bend, but you're going to push your foot back. So a little engagement and opening of that thigh back, and then push the heart forward. Come here. I think you can see here. Yes, good. So it's the foot going back and the heart going forward. You might take the other arm and extend it out or hold on to a lamp. Lifting and lengthening the spine, breathing in, breathing out. And slowly bend the knees, set the foot down, just to make sure you don't snap that leg down. Okay. And then dancer's pose on the other side, so your palm's going to face outwards as you grab onto that foot. I'm trying to get into a place so dark. Okay. So I can have the knees here and just kind of push the foot back, or I can really push the foot back. You can kind of see my hips are going forward and my heart is coming up. You have the foot active, the heart active, the arm goes out, or it holds on to something to keep you steady. Are you still breathing? Thighs towards each other, not opening to the side. Breathing in. Breathing out. Slowly, little bend to the knees, release that foot, and come on down. I'm going to take the feet just a little bit wider than the hips. Take an inhale and reach your arms up. And then fold forward, bend the knees. Come into a really easy fold. Bring your hands somewhere supportive. It could be your shins, it could be the floor. It's totally up to you where that is. Let your head drop, wiggle your neck around a little bit. And then maybe you make your right leg a little bit straighter. Maybe you just bend your left leg a little bit more. And then take your right arm open so that you have that twist that stretches out that sassy right hip. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then come back down through the center. And then switch, so now you have a slightly straighter left leg and a slightly more bent right leg. And then the left arm will open up. Breathing in. Breathing out. And come down into the center. Just keep your knees bent, roll it up. You can walk your hands up your legs to be sure you're not getting a little bit too crazy in the back. And then take the feet open nice and wide. Now turn the right toes all the way out to the right. The left toes turn in slightly. Bring your left hand to your hip. Turn your heart towards your right fingertips. And then lift the heart up to your right fingertips. Keep pushing down in the feet so you lift up taller through the spine. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then feel your hips shift back towards the left foot and come out into triangle pose. Many options here. Sometimes taking the hand to the small of the back and pushing into that hand will help to open the shoulder up. If it feels good to open the arm up, as long as you're lifting and opening the shoulder, you're welcome to do that as well. If you want to focus more in the chest as we have been, this could be nice. Breathing in, breathing out. And then it's going to be the core lifting up, belly draws in, coming all the way back up. And then switching the feet over towards the other side. So hop all the way over to the left, a little bit in on that right, and then your right hand at your hip, and your heart going up towards those left fingertips. Not back, but expansive upwards. This is like the shining pop star pose, so you can let your heart sing right up there to those fingertips. Take another deep breath in, breathing out, and then shifting the hips back towards the right foot as the hand comes down somewhere on the left leg that feels good to you. You could reach the arm open or take that hand into the small of the back and lift and open the chest. Stretching collarbones apart, stretching your ears away from your shoulders. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Draw the belly in, use that core to come all the way back up, and then bring your feet in much closer. We're going to bring your inner legs to touch, the inseams, the big toes to touch. Take your left arm up, hold on to your left wrist, and pull it out in a little side bend here. Optional addition, it's ever so slight. The heart starts to turn up a little bit more, so there's a little bit more open rotation. Exhaling, and then coming up, and then switching the grasp of the wrist. You hold on to the right wrist, and you go up and over directly to the side, and then a slight turn of the heart a little bit more skyward. Finishing your breath out, coming back to the middle, releasing the arms down. Just go ahead and roll the shoulders back to front a few times. Interlace your fingers and bring them behind your back, but then bring them to the left side of your waist. So both elbows are drawing back even though they're not symmetric, and then you'll drop your nose down towards your hands. Bonus points for keeping the low belly engaged as the front of the hips lift. And really trying to let go those side of the neck muscles. They can really absorb a nice stretch and release here. Breathing in, breathing out. Slowly bring your head back up to the center. Move your hands over towards the other side. And then relax your nose down towards your knuckles. Both elbows and shoulders drawing back. The fronts of the hips gently lifting. Breathing in. Breathing out. Slowly lifting back to the center. Releasing your arms, shake your fingers out. We're going to come down onto our knees. We're going to take Camel Pose, so you'll want to have perhaps something underneath your knees, and that will be the only thing left on our knees, and we'll get right onto our backs and work out the rest of this practice. So if you need anything extra squishy, you'll come right there. Toes curled under. Trying to get in front of the white door so you can see my hips. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, so the toes are curled under so that the underbutt is lifted. And we're going to let the hips move forward into the hands. Feeling that, we'll change the hands to the high-waisted jean back pockets. There's this continuous forward motion. And then the shoulder blades are going to draw gently towards each other to boost the heart up. And then there's this circular pathway with the body, so the thighs are coming forward, the hips are coming forward, the heart goes out and forward, and the gaze goes up as much as is comfortable for your neck, which might not have to be a lot. You might just instead think of the crown of the head going up instead of your eyes. So you're going to continue this opening forward circular motion in the body in a place where you can breathe. Take another breath in. And draw the belly in, come back up onto a vertical spine. Untuck your toes. And then you can either bring your hands down here for a moment just to soften. Try not to curl inwards, just stay soft. Or you can bring your hips back to your heels, just depending on what feels good to you. Take 2 breaths on your own. Nice, long, sweet breaths. And then we're going to come up once more onto our knees. We're going to do a quick thing with the arms. You want to think of your bicep, the front of your arm, going out through your thumbs. So we're going to have a direct muscle line engagement. We'll come up here, curl the toes under. We're going to reach the arms back and just feel those biceps reaching out to your thumbs. So the arm should feel very strong. You might start to feel more of this chest lift up from that space. And then you're going to bring your hands back into those back pockets. We're going to feel the hips moving forward, the heart coming up. And then are you able to feel those biceps stretching back like they did before? It's a little different without the hands extended. But you might be able to think of that part of your arm moving back to allow the heart to open a little bit more. Maybe you look up, one more breath in. Exhale, belly draws back, hips draw back. And then go ahead and come into table pose. You might scoot your knees back a little bit more and take a little side to side cat-cow. So looking over your right shoulder, swinging your hips to the right, your left shoulder, swinging your hips to the left. And just moving side to side here a few times. Finishing up that round so that you're even in the middle. Coming back to the center. And then starting to come down into a seat. When you come into that seat, if you want to sit up on anything, maybe your towel or a pillow so that your hips are just a little bit lifted. We'll take the legs open just as much as is comfortable to you. It doesn't have to be a really wide split. Make your feet strong, lifting the toes up. We'll take a side bend, going over towards the left leg, taking the left arm over, and really dropping that left hip down. If your shoulders or head are feeling tender, you can kind of hold on to your head like this. A little bit less effort in that arm. Breathing in, breathing out, and lifting up. And going over towards the right side, taking that right hand out, reaching the left arm over, or taking the hand behind your head to kind of hold on and keep your neck a little bit more relaxed. And really release that left hip down. It wants to follow you. Let it settle. Breathing in, breathing out. Draw your belly in to come up. Release your arm down. And then we'll start coming down onto our backs. Whatever you want to have handy for Shavasana, you'll want to make sure that that's near you. And we'll start off and down on our backs with our knees into our chest. Just giving a little massage of the back into the floor. And if your movements are in one direction, you'll make sure to move them in the other direction so that you can feel some balance in the effort and the attention to this body. And then take your right ankle and cross it over your left ankle. Reach outside the legs and hold on to your shins. You can grab opposite feet if your arms are longer and your hips are open enough. Wherever you do grab, and it's not more advanced to hold the feet, it's just that that might be where your body allows. What's most advanced is to simply be somewhere where you can breathe and feel and acknowledge what's going on in your body, acknowledging the need to let the hips release here. If this feels like good work in releasing your back and your breath is something you're working to keep steady, you'll stay here. If you want to get a little bit more opening to the hips, instead of crossing the ankles, you'll cross your knees, and it's still reaching outside of the legs to hold on to your shins. You may get closer towards your feet. You may not. Just be somewhere releasing these outer hips perhaps a little bit more intensely, or simply staying with ankles crossed and making sure that that is where our intention is. Breathing in, breathing out. One more round of breath. And then releasing the cross of the legs, starting with your left ankle over your right ankle, reaching outside the legs to hold onto the shins, the lower legs, somewhere that makes sense to you. Making every effort to surrender into softness. We hold on so tightly. It's just not in service to us at most points. You'll remain here with ankles crossed or move to having the knees crossed for a little bit more intensity, and that's still coming outside and holding the legs. And it doesn't matter how close the thighs get to you, can you release your hips more? That's what we're really opening here anyway. So to try to hold the hips up to get the legs in towards the chest, we're really losing out on a lot of opportunity to release the outer hips and thus the lower back. Big breath in. Big breath out. Releasing your ankles, unwinding your legs, and setting the soles of the feet down on the mat for a moment to let the front of the hips relax. And taking the knees over towards one side, open your arms. If you want a little bit more intensity in your twist, you bring your legs closer. If you need more space in the front of the body, you leave your knees further away. Choose your own adventure twist, looking upwards or over towards the left. If you still need and have available more opening to do in the chest, push down gently in the back of your right arm and see what happens to that left side, releasing and opening. Noticing if it's valuable to you. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then gently working the legs back to the center and over towards the other side. Deciding how close you want the legs to be towards your torso, and how much, if at all, pressing down in the back of the left arm helps you to open that right side, if it's useful. Big breath in. Softening as you breathe out. And then bringing the legs back to the center. We'll wrap up in happy baby, having the feet up and open, either holding the outsides of your feet or grabbing the backs of your thighs. Maybe you wrap around a little bit. Maybe as you lean over towards one side, you have the other leg get a little bit straighter. Just kind of letting the legs expand and open up as much as is interesting to you. Go ahead and play around with this. Whenever I'm practicing, I always want my happy baby to be very still, and whenever I'm teaching and I'm demonstrating, I want to move around a lot. So if you feel like you want to be much stiller than I do, just be still. Breathing in, softening with the breath out. Staying another breath. Letting it go as you're ready. And then if there's any other shapes or movements that you need, if you need to finish anything else in the body to round off your practice, go for it. You might let the knees fall against each other. Maybe hands come onto the body. Maybe legs are straight and arms are out to your sides. And roll over to one side. You could take a seated meditation. Maybe put your legs up against the wall or scooch them up on the couch for a gentle inversion. Take your time to set yourself up in a good final resting shape for you and enjoy. Start to bring your awareness back to your breath. Feeling the movement of this breath in your heart space, noticing how that space might have changed over the course of our practice. Rolling over towards one side, taking a moment to pause in gratitude for having this ability to still keep practicing together, to keep showing up every week. Finding a comfortable seat when you're ready. The heart is our seat of courage. And often courage requires of us that we do things that are uncomfortable. And it does not require that everything we do is perfect. Simply that we act with passion and compassion and a willingness to expand and to grow. From this place, we release one Om to seal our practice. Deep breath in. Bowing down to this love, to this light and darkness that resides within each of us. Namaste.
Have a good week, April.
Thanks, you too, Sylvia. Bye, everybody. Let me know if you have
so much.
questions.
Thank you.
Thanks.